You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch.
Welcome to the latest episode of Stupid Bitches Say What with your hosts Sean Hipkins and Skylee Collett. This week's theme is Month in Review.
This episode, we're going to review some of this month's current affairs. What exactly? Well, let's find out. But before that, what are you drinking, Sky?
Oh my God, I've been so excited to actually tell you what I'm drinking, and I haven't even had a sip of it yet because I wanted to actually officially take a sip. So let me just do that because it might taste like shit. Hang on.
I can't wait to hear the spit out effect.
Oh.
Oh.
No, it's okay. At least it's not sweet. I can do it. Okay.
What is it?
Another naked wine.
Yeah.
It's a Vidello. Okay.
Ooh, Vidello. That's like a dessert one, isn't it? Like a Moscato type?
It's not sweet at all, actually. It's more of a shardy. It's got a shardy taste to it, though. Like, you know that woody...
It's pronounced Chardonnay.
That woody taste that Chardonnay has. And I'm not a Chardonnay person. I do not like it at all.
I'm not a Chardonnay.
But the reason I was excited to talk about it is because the only other time I've had Vidello is at Day on the Green at the Cirame Winery.
That's where I know it, yes.
Yes. And I'm going to do a shout out to one of my besties, Natalie Thomas, because
we love Nat.
Yeah, when we were seeing, who did we see? Jebediah. We saw Jebediah at Day on the Green just before I moved down here, and we could never remember the name of it. So every time we went up to order a bottle again, because you buy them in bottles, remember? Like,
yes.
It's cheaper to buy it in a bottle. We'd be like, can we get the one that starts with a V?
Sounds like another fucking case of Cabernet Sauvignon to me.
Because number one, we couldn't pronounce it, but number two, we were that blind that we had no idea what it was called, and we were just like, starts with a V, okay? Just give us that one. That's the one that we want. That's the one that we know that we like.
The white one that starts with a V. And it's not Vino.
Yeah, it's not Vino. A lot could fall into that category.
Yeah. Very good.
So what are you drinking, Sean?
Well, you'll be pleased to know I'm still on the red. It's a
pleased and also not surprised.
It's another Cabernet blend. It's Cabernet Malbec from the Clare Valley.
And that has to be a naked, because I've never heard of Malbec. I saw a Malbec the other day on Naked and I was like, what the fuck is a Malbec?
I know, some form of grape. It's a Winebarrows CLV1.
You think?
I believe so. I don't know if it's a plum wine. No. But it's I'm going back to my normal vintage of last year out the wine womb.
Well, see, I am doing another 2021. My palate is not aged in any way.
Fair, in a couple of months it would be classified at least as an annual vintage. 1 year
Thanks for trying to make me feel better, but it's still, I'm drinking a 2021 and 2021.
Fresh out the wine boom.
And it's a Vidello. It's a very woody Vidello.
Yes. Notes of oak.
I got notes of wood. Pine, maybe?
She got
treated pine?
Oh my God. Okay.
What?
So, I'm just looking at the Anchor dashboard, and so full disclosure, we are doing back-to-back episodes tonight with historical events. We do have personal commitments next week that prevent us from recording on our annual Friday, and I did want to go in by saying, oh my God, we're now cracked the 100 plays on Anchor, but we're at 99. We're one away. So I've just checked our geographic location for Ireland, and we've got another province in our listener list. So we've now got 3 of the 4 provinces representation. Leinster, Connacht, and Munster now. I think Munster's the hometown of Vinny, well, the home province of Vinny. So thanks for listening, my extended family.
Support, Ireland. Also, I love your country and I love your pubs.
Can't wait to get back there.
And I love Guinness. And I love cider. I love Magners.
And we love shamrocks. And we love
I love everything.
potato.
And we love, what was the hotel that we stayed in for your wedding? The
the
Clemmell.
Clemmell Park Hotel.
What a great
looked
stay we
after
had
us.
there. If you're ever in Clemmell, stay there, please.
That's where Vinny and I got married, and they fucking very well looked after us.
Mm. Yes.
Looked after us very well. Whatever. I told you.
VIP status all the way.
We're on our second bottle. Right. So we've done the full disclosure. We can't really do what have you been up to this week.
Oh, I had something that I wanted to talk about, though.
You did, and you didn't know if it was going to be too weird.
I thought it was a bit amusing. So, as you know, not to worry any listeners, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I have to have some major surgery on Tuesday. But
Hence the double banger recording.
Yes, it's double banger recording. And so this week I've come to terms with the fact that I had to write my will. And again, I know, stay with me for a minute because it will get amusing, okay?
I can't wait to hear what I get.
And look, it was quite a confronting activity. And really, at 41, almost 42, I should have a will by now because I do have a child and assets.
Yeah, girl, I'm 44 and we've got our unit and we still haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So just to give it, so my sister had also done hers recently, and this is how I know this. So she went to the post office, and I did the same thing this week, and paid $25 for a will kit that once it's witnessed by two people, even if you never store it anywhere or submit, you don't have to submit it to a lawyer or anything like that. For $25, you have a legal will. Yeah. So $25.
How easy is it to fill in the blanks?
I said the same thing to Sarah because she lectured me on it. And I said the same thing. I was like, oh, God, that just sounds like such a horrid task that I just don't want to deal with. Not that I think I'm going to die or anything, but I just thought I better get my ducks in a row just in case. Like if any time you're going to, if you've been really shit about having a will at our age, if you're going for some surgery, you should do it. So
planning prevents poor.
Yeah, so it comes in a little pack that it strongly suggests you go online and do the online version because there's a lot more options that you can do, which I'll get to in a second. But they also include a paper version. That's an official paper version. You say it's you say who you want to get what, you say who your executor is, which is the most important piece.
When you say paper version, is it a series of A4 papers or is it like a long scroll?
One A4 piece of paper, back and front. Oh. That's it. And it's mostly...
I'm not going to be able to list all my Nintendo Switch games on fucking 2 pieces of A4 paper.
Who's getting in Nintendo Switch games, can I ask?
Well, it's going to many people, hence why I need at least 3.
Who's getting a Nintendo Switch console, may I ask?
Oh, that's going straight to Vinny.
What if you both are deceased at the same time?
Link.
I wasn't fishing for Link. I was fishing for me, please.
Well, Link when he's 18, you can be the custodian of it in the meantime.
You didn't let me finish. So most of that front and back side forms is free writing lines where you list all your possessions. So it basically says, who are you? Who's your executor? Who's your secondary executor if something happens to your first executor? Who are you leaving your shit to? Who are you leaving your money to? What else does it say? A couple of other minor things, pretty straightforward, and then you're done. So that's the paper version. You get 2 witnesses. They cannot be your de facto. So Vinny couldn't witness yours. I can't have Tyler witness
probably
mine.
Lucky because...
de facto,
he'd witness me and then fucking top me off, probably.
And then take all your shit. He'll take your fucking
just
Switch.
For the Switch.
And the games, don't forget. So honestly, I hate shit like this. So it's actually quite easy to do. But the online version means that you can do a whole bunch of other stuff and you can go into a little bit more detail about your wishes, which is what I thought I would cover with you. And the response that I got from Tyler is
is this about the fucking, you want a full-blown written musical about your life 6 weeks after your
This is about my funeral. And I've gone into great lengths to go into specifics.
Can I ask you one question before you go into it?
Yes.
Who do you demand plays the lead as Sky in the musical on your life when you go?
Well, to be fair, I hadn't considered a musical, but now I am. And I fucking, Sarah, when you listen to this,
I'm
'cause I know you will
sure
listen
we've
to
had a
this,
discussion
there
about you
needs to
having a
be a
musical.
musical. Yes, there needs. I don't care who plays me, as long as it's someone really good looking. But yes.
Angelina Jolie it is.
No, she has to be blonde. Well, she has to dye her hair. Yes,
Renee
I
Zellweger?
have reconsidered my demands about my funeral service. I want a musical. Thank you very much. But also on top of that, so I went through it all with Tyler and I said, look, people have to get super dressed up. I'm not talking fucking jeans and a nice top. I'm talking black
Extra.
tie shit,
Bougie.
cocktail.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Even at the funeral? I'm like, even at the funeral.
Everyone's lips better be
Cocktails,
fucking at
bow
least 2
ties.
millifiller.
Hair
Did you not want to see a wrinkle on anyone's
full
forehead?
face of makeup. And I said, and then the drinking will start at the service and will continue on to the wake. If people aren't willing to drink at the funeral service, they're not allowed in. And you need to be walking around, and Sarah needs to be walking around saying you need to have shots, or you're not allowed to be here and pay.
You know what's going to happen though at your fucking funeral? We'll all be there doing a shot, and you're going to sit up in your coffin.
You go, guys. And then I went on and said to him, and then the party needs to be insane. It needs to be like better than any party I've ever planned. Like you need to take every fucking thing to the next level. And he's like, you're really excited about this. I'm actually like, he goes, I'm really sad talking about this with you, and I really don't see the point in talk, because obviously like he's like 23, so he's just like, why are we doing this? I'm like, I'm being practical, okay, but also let's talk about my memorial service again.
Now run it by me. What were the 5 key things I need at my funeral?
I keep coming back to him with other stuff that I want. Like I want a car procession, like how they do in some of the religious places where they leave the church and to drive to the wake, and everyone follows the coffin and stuff like that. And then there's like a whole
convoy.
Yeah, the single file.
The streets of Cleveland
that.
shut down.
So there is an official record of my demands, okay? That is this podcast.
And she will haunt you.
I already told Tyler, I said, I'll come back for you. If you don't do it the way I want it, don't care what anyone says, I will come back and haunt you. And he was like, babe, come the fuck down. And he kept saying to me, I can't believe how excited you are about planning your funeral. I'm like, well, you're going to go.
Have you seen Coming to America too?
No, I loved the first one, but I'm not a huge Eddie Murphy fan as years have gone by.
Yeah.
The whole paternity suits and stuff like that, not acknowledging that he has children. Yeah, I just think that's really gross.
Well, Coming to America 2 is pretty much very similar to the first one, and it's just like a sort of, if you love the first one, you'll love the second one just based on nostalgia. But his father does the exact same thing, plans his funeral to the extent that you planned yours, but comes out in the coffin alive, like just stays in the coffin because he wants to witness his own funeral. So he's in the coffin, stood up.
I want that too.
With his eyes shut, and he has all the performances going on in that, and then he opens his eyes, is like, thank you, and then cuts it. So he sees his own funeral first. We'll try and do that for you too, Sky. But you know what? Like, I don't want you to die, obviously. We've just had our podcast starting, so you'd be ruining a lot of my plans.
Well, anyway, I'm glad that wasn't a Debbie Downer, because I must reiterate, I don't think I'm going to die next week. I was being a practical adult, doing adult stuff, adulting.
Anything. I now can't wait for your funeral. Bring it on. No, don't. I don't.
Mate, look, I'll probably live till I'm 100.
Yeah, look.
I'll probably just miss the 100. I'll live till 99. I'll have a lot of ailments.
We'll be pickled. The podcast did our body good.
I know. I was like, I want my organs donated. I don't know if they'll take my liver.
I'm
not naive.
Donated to the Smithsonian Museum.
I know, right? Anyway, so whilst we are doing a podcast, we're doing 2 in a row for obvious reasons. We don't have much more to talk about. But is there something else that you missed out from the last podcast about what's happened this week? What else is going on? Let's talk about you, Bino. What's happening in your life?
Look, I'm always really shit. You know, like when you go to the hairdresser and you've been there, well, sorry to rub it in. So when you go to a hairdresser
There's a line. There's weeks.
and you go after 4
The
weeks
lineup.
and they're like, so what else has been happening? I'm really shit at that. I'm like, you know, same old, same stuff, just getting older, you know. And then Vinny's next to me, and his hairdresser's asking him the same shit. He's like, well, lads, you know, we did this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, yeah, listen to him, listen in.
This is why, like, Vinny can talk to anyone, and this is a running joke that Bino and I have and have done so for years, is that wherever we go, no matter what, Vinny picks up strangers. He is that charismatic and will talk to anyone at a bar, in the toilet, on the street, waiting for a cab, and
They end
he
up wanting
just
to come back to another
and
pub with
then
us or moving on with us. It's so
they don't-
annoying.
yeah, they don't just chat to him; they become part of our group. They're like, "Hey, you
We're
guys are
Facebook
super fun.
friends
They're
and
coming with you," and we're like, "No, Vinny, ditch them." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay."
What, lads? Sorry, lads.
Fucking Vinny.
Good times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's too charismatic for his own good.
And I've got another thing I'd like to point out in this episode. I'd like to do a shout out to a friend of mine who I was talking to you about earlier, Patrina.
Oh, yes. Hi, Patrina.
Thank you so much. I was just saying how much promotion she's been doing for us just by word of mouth. And it's nice to know that someone likes our podcast enough that they're passing on their reviews to other people.
And she basically told you if it was shit, she just pretend she hadn't listened to it. So that's really good feedback.
It is true. I
Thanks,
said,
Patrina.
thank you for
You're
passing
our kind
on.
of people.
She is our kind of people, trust me. I've done bubbles with her. She is our kind of people. But yeah, I thanked her and she said, no, it's fine. If it was shit, I wouldn't be telling anyone. I was like, okay, well, that gives us confidence. So, stupid bitch, what's your first item on the current affairs month in review agenda?
Look, I feel like we need to. We talked about Gladys last week, and my devastation about her departing. So we've already done.
We couldn't wait on that. That couldn't be a special episode thing. That had to be what's happening now.
She seems to be doing well, though. She seems to be, she seems to be out there. She's doing well. Bless her little heart. I hope she's doing
probably
well.
been enjoyed being able to go out and actually have a fucking few bottles of wine one night and not have to get up at fucking.
Like you said, and I think we ended up cutting this out of an episode, but we were talking about it one time, is like, Anastasia Palaszczuk is the same, when they have to do that update every morning. They can't just have they can't just drink a bottle of wine and be a little bit hungers the next day, because they're going to be firing.
On the ball, yeah.
They have to be on the ball.
Like, I totally feel like, yes, politicians are politicians, and I get that, and there's underhanded shit and blah, blah, blah. But it's a very fucking tough gig. You've got to be committed.
Looks like she'd love a red too, doesn't she? She looks like she'd love a strong.
She looks like she'd love a layback. Put your head back and pour the vodka straight down.
We love you, Gladys. We're so sorry to see you go. What more can we say? We love you. We miss you. I hope that there's some way that you'll come back to us, but I don't know that that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen. What I would like to say about Gladys is that I prefer you over the new dude.
Yes, what a wanker. Anyway.
Taking out the fucking Aslan interpreters.
I know.
What's that about?
Look,
why do you make a cut that way?
I haven't read enough to see what his response was in terms of what he said, but I did see that. I did see that they questioned him on it. I don't know what his response was. I think he didn't respond initially.
What's a valid response?
Oh, look.
That? And if it's budget cuts, that's fucking insulting.
They could have changed providers, and there was a couple of days between it. Yeah, I don't know, but you're right. Look, sometimes I'm the devil's advocate. I can't help it.
Yeah, and I know. And if you change providers and there's a couple of days in between, you just stretch out or you get in a temp.
And because I haven't seen a response,
because I could guarantee you, if he'd lost a secretary and there was a couple of days in between, they would have hired a temp in to fucking do his fucking ironing or whatever. Yeah.
I'm just trying to maybe hope there's a better reason for him just sacking them, because he doesn't think that they're relevant or, provide a worthwhile service, because that's just...
He's a right-wing. See you next Tuesday. No excuses.
Yes, I know. But yeah, everything's leading He's not great.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about COVID, because a lot's always happening with COVID, and we're going to try not to dwell on it too much, but there's a few things that have been really significant in the last couple of weeks. New South Wales went into Freedom Day, which was on Monday. I live in New South Wales, so that's, impacted me quite significantly. We went out for dinner on Wednesday night. We had a lovely beer on tap. It was wonderful. I got a crispy skinned salmon with garlic sauce and chopped potatoes and broccolini.
Salmon.
It was insanely delicious. Link and Tyler both got a palmy with chips.
Pub palmy, that must have been fucking delightful for him.
They were dying for it. I've tried to cook and recreate a palmy a few times at home. It's been okay. I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's nothing like a pub palmy. So they're really happy about that. But some of the things that have been in the media, which I thought was not amusing, I just thought was quite relevant, and I sent this to Bina earlier this week, is the whole avocado situation. So in New South Wales, avocados you can pay up to $3.50 for one avocado at Woolies or Coles.
Oh, this is to do with COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've noticed, because I buy a lot of avocados, that they're down to like 90 cents. Like the most you're paying for an avocado right now is $1.20, right? And so when I go, I'm like frantically taking.
Because over here, even up here, it's like $5 for an avo, or
so like
$3.50 or 2 for $5. Yeah.
And normally when you get avocados, it's because you need to make something with avocado, right? So you're getting the more fresher ones that are firm and ready to go.
Generally, yeah.
But I'm like trying to get the hardest, rock hard ones, like the really
to give it time for ripe.
So I can buy a bunch of them and keep them at my house so that we can eat them, because we eat a lot of avocado. And I thought it was weird that they were so cheap, but I thought, it's summer, maybe they're just really out there. I didn't really give much thought, but I was reading an article.
Like an in-season thing, like when fucking you get to Christmas,
like
mangoes
and summer. Yes.
Exactly. Do you know what the other name for an avocado is? Alligator pear. Have you ever heard of alligator pears?
It doesn't sound familiar, but I feel like maybe I should have heard that before. Maybe I'm just being ignorant.
Yeah.
So I was reading this specific article, which I thought was very interesting. Is that
total JK? You're not an ignorant person.
No. Thank you, darling. Thank you for that. So because so many cafes, all of New South Wales has been locked down, a lot of the regional areas included in that, all the cafes are shut. So all the avocado farmers normally supply to the supermarkets and the cafes and the restaurants. And because all the restaurants
can charge $27 for a smashed avo on toast.
Yeah, so they're all closed. So they're having to sell off, their loads of avocados at such a cheap rate because they're about to ripen, because they can't sell them to their normal places of business, and they're really struggling. And I was like, oh my God.
And I'd heard though that the farmers are making like 7 cents an avocado now.
Yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they're making, and who is responsible for that is Woolies and bloody Coles.
Yeah.
Undercutting them, of course, so that they can still make top dollar. But yeah, it's just like one of the indirect results of COVID. We think about all the people who have lost their jobs in the hospitality industry and in other industries, but you don't think about stuff like this, that it's impacted indirectly. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, shit, it's just fucked how many people have had a really tough time.
It's a type of area that you don't think about when COVID hits. Of course, you think about the small businesses, the gyms, the hairdressers, you think about the restaurants and cafes in particular.
Of course.
But you don't think about the fact that the suppliers to those cafes, such as avocados, farmers, are actually also getting massively hit by this.
Yeah.
And you know how, do you remember, before COVID, and I'm using the term boomers, I don't agree with the fact that everything's blamed on the boomers saying this shit, but boomers saying about millennials not being able to have a house deposit, well, if you saved having your avocado on toast at the cafe.
Yes, that's what I quoted. It actually specifically
so everyone should have a house deposit within 6 months.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other side of it because, look, and I don't want to gloat about this because Tyler and I have quite a bit of disposable income and we spend that mostly on dining, hospitality, drinking, betting at the pub, which we still have been betting at home. But, we haven't been playing the pokers. And look, we're not crazy poker fiends. Please don't think that we are. Bino's a crazy poker fiend.
Please think that I am.
I am not even close to that level. I like to bet 25 cents a spin, thank you very much.
Oh, that is pretty fucking shit, yeah.
And I don't like to go above
up
70.
to $1.
75 cents is a lash out for me. 25
God.
cents. Even when I bet on the races, sometimes it's
20 cents each way.
I'm cheap. I don't like to waste my money, please. I'm thrifty. But we have managed to save a shit ton of money in the last, 18 months because we haven't been spending it. We haven't spent money on I haven't been getting my nails done. I haven't been getting my hair done. We haven't been going to the pub. We haven't been fine dining. We get a little bit of takeaway here and there.
But you also feel like you're doing a service when it's locked down, like even when it was locked down in Brisbane, Queensland, and the cafes and the pubs and the dining areas were all shut. We felt like we were sort of contributing and doing a service by getting takeout and supporting local businesses.
Well, we've had to do that for the last couple of months. Like, nearly 6 months we've been in lockdown, or 4.5 months, whatever it's been. And we have done that, but it's still not the same as when you go out. When you go out to between the two of us,
totally.
For a night at the pub, that's $300 easily
100%,
between betting, drinks, and food.
And drinks especially,
onto that. Link usually comes for dinner and then we drop him home before we start hitting it hard, or we get someone else to drop him home for us.
Thank you, Eva.
But so we could spend, easily $300 to $400 in a night. So we're not spending any of that. We're still getting some takeaway.
And the drunker you get, the more generous you get too, with buying rounds and everything. Yeah.
When we go to the bowler, sometimes we do double meals. We'll go there for lunch and we'll keep drinking through the afternoon, and then we're still there for dinner time. Plus all the drinking in between.
Bowls Club is, and a bowls club is good for that shit because you're paying fucking good price. No, you're paying what they charge for a meal is very economical.
And when you guys came down, the few times that you've come down, it's been 3 times I think you've come to visit me down here. I've always taken you to other pubs because the Bolo, Tyler and I, was probably when we first started dating. Like, I'd always liked it, but round about when we first started dating, which was about 2.5 years ago, that's when we became massive fans, and then we became full. Like we go in there and everyone says hey to us. Hey guys, hey, going. You would love it. It is
jealous.
Your kind of place.
I'm jealous. Like, we go down to see my mum down in Tweed Heads, and the first thing we do is go over to Seagulls. You've got cheap food, you've got cheap drinks, you've got the pokies. And I wish, and I love inner city living. I love living in West End. But I wish we had a fucking West End Bowls Club or a West End Services Club.
The place where everybody knows the name,
totally go in for a $3.20 fucking bourbon. You know what I mean? That type of shit.
Yeah, and you get points too. So
I love fucking
all
points.
The points, because we spend so much fun, and you get points on the pokies.
You're a golden member. Yeah, I trust you.
Food, drinks, pokies, and then you got your raffles, and you got your fucking meat raffles, and your seafood raffles, and then you got your tipping competition, and we just love it there. Like, that's the one thing that we're going to miss, because even there's the Redland Sporting Club, and there's the Wellington Point Hotel. There's a few places up there. There's nothing. I know all the pubs in, the Redlands. There's nothing like the Bolo, and I'm going to give them a shout out if they ever listen. The Badu Bay Bolo. That is out of my all-time favourite pub in the universe. I love it. So we are totally just drunk talking now, aren't we? We're not getting anywhere.
No, so I can cut out a lot of that stuff. That's fine.
I think we're just going to get drunker. I think a double episode for us is maybe not realistic. So the other thing I want to say about COVID this week that I found out, because obviously we're in Freedom, Week we had Freedom Day on Monday, and we're back out there, and you have to be double vaccinated to pretty much go anywhere. So you need to, every place is showing at the moment that you need to show your vaccination certificate. I had to provide it to work last week. Just like it was optional. I didn't have to do it. It was optional, but I was like, fucking, what am I hiding? Like, I don't really care. What's the point in saying, oh, I don't want to provide it because of my privacy? Who really gives a fuck? I didn't really want to get the vaccination. I got it because I want my freedom back, and it's done. Do you know what I mean? Like, so why would I be hiding it? Like, I don't really care about shit like that. So I gave it to them. So I already had it saved on my phone. And so I knew that, and they've been talking about it for months about how you're going to have to show that you're vaccinated anyway to get your freedoms back, which is why we did it. And also because Tyler works in disability support care. But so I've got my vaccination certificate. I was a bit worried about Link because Link's not vaccinated, but he's under 16. So I had his birth certificate. That was fine, ready to go. But then, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm going to say I know a lot of young people because of, you know, Link and friends of mine who have young kids. So I'm talking like teenagers, people in their 20s. But they were talking to me about... Not Tyler. Tyler's way too sensible. He's way more sensible than me. Like he would never do something like this.
That's why it works, yeah.
Like he's just, you know, totally by the book in every single way. But yeah, they were telling me about how you can get fake vaccination certificates. There's a whole app. There's not one app apparently. There's like 3 or 4 different apps that you can download that has a fake vaccination certificate on it. And they showed me. They were like, here, have a look at this vaccination certificate that we have. And it literally, I looked at mine, I looked at theirs, and I was like, exactly the same. You cannot.
Is there a number or anything that...
Look, I didn't go that much in, but I don't know that the pubs will go in that much detail because...
No, yeah, you're right.
Until it formally comes
When it comes to travelling overseas, there'll be a blockade there, I reckon.
Until the government realises that the fake apps, which I'm sure is like days or weeks away before they know.
They don't know that already. Like, they're able to fucking deploy fucking terrorist attacks. They know about this shit. They know that there's a fucking fake face.
Well, until they do something about it. But they see what. So we have Service New South Wales app. You guys have a different thing because Service New South Wales is like our Queensland Transport. It's where we get our registration. It's where we get our driver's license, etc. So
Did you get your certificate through the MyGov app though?
Yes, so that's where it is, but they've been saying for probably the last 2 months that they will put it on Service News. So we scan, so everywhere that we go, scan the Service New South Wales app, which is where you register your license.
Oh, yeah, we've got the Queensland Health one, where you scan that when you're checking into places.
But does that have your driver's license on it as well? No, see, ours is all combined. Service New South Wales has everything. So if you've got a motorbike, whatever, it has it has our dining cards and stuff like that on it.
What's a dining card?
Oh, that's all the freebies that we get because we live in New South Wales.
Yeah, my mum tells me about that actually.
Free restaurant vouchers and stuff.
That's why my mum loves Gladys, because she keeps getting $100 fuel cards off her.
Yes. But anyway, so the Service New South Wales app, they've been saying for at least the last 2 or 3 months that they're going to make it that the vaccination certificate will be available on there, which will mean that fraudulently you can't really do anything about it, which is probably one of the reasons that they decided to do that, but they still haven't done it. Gladys was days away from it happening, and then new guy came in, and it hasn't happened. What's he been? He's been in for 2 weeks now, hasn't he?
He's younger than you. Do you know that?
How dare you say that to my face?
Well, he's younger than Vinny, and you're the same age as Vinny. So.
How old is he?
Well, he's younger than 41.
Ugh. But I forget what I was talking about. Anyway.
Gladys was a few days away from the...
Yeah, so look, there's fake certificates out there. Look, I love the ingenuity of people sometimes. It just baffles me how people...
Well, it's like the fake driver's license and all that shit. Yeah.
That is like, but back when we were younger, to get a fake driver's license, you just had to get a birth certificate for someone who was in similar age and had the same eye colour. And then...
use your school ID.
You would just go and take it to the Queensland Transport and be like, this is who I am. And they just go, yep, snap your photo, fucking done. That's how Hutch got her fake ID. Louisa had one. Danielle had one. I never did because I was a big fat chicken. I didn't like breaking the rules. I'm not a rule breaker when it comes to law stuff. I'm a bit of a...
I'm the same. I play by the books.
Yes. I'll do some little cheeky stuff sometimes, but...
Oh, look, I've run a red light and I've put my pedal to the metal a few times and gone maybe over the speed limit. # Gladstone. But yeah, when it comes to fucking that type of shit, I'm like, no.
Look,
I don't want this shit to come back and hit me in the face.
I didn't have a lot of trouble getting into pubs underage anyway. I had the blonde hair, the big boobs.
The big tits, yeah.
You can come in, honey.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of difficulty anyway. So like there was a few times I might have needed a fake ID, but it was most of the time I got in underage anyway. So
yeah, I remember. Well, and I think too, back when we were younger, and yes, I say we, back when we were younger, I think like even getting into pubs, back in the fucking Redlands as well, they didn't actually give a shit as much. There wasn't fucking raids. There wasn't fucking ID scans.
No, it was so different.
Was a simpler
when we were
time.
young.
So what's our next current affair?
Okay,
Squid Game?
yeah, you talk about Squid Game. Go on.
All right, so Squid Game has been a pretty big thing this month. Have you seen it, Sky?
I haven't seen it. I suggested to you that we should watch it and talk about
You
it, but
did.
I'm a bit scaredy cat over it. But Link's seen it. My friend Amanda's seen it.
I don't be
Heaps of
scaredy
other
cat.
people.
You've watched Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same sort of thing.
I also heard the dubbing was really bad. Like the
when you put the English vocals over the top, yeah.
So did you watch it with subtitles?
No.
Oh.
Because subtitles are too distracting for me. I like if I find I'm reading what's happening there, I'm missing what's actually happening on the screen.
I used to be the same, but because my hearing's gotten really bad, I can't believe I'm admitting this.
What?
I just need to get my ears cleaned out. I found that I need this. Once I adjusted to the distracting part of it, I can now watch subtitles all the time.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. Like, there's a few things, mainly when I'm watching shit in bed and Vinny's trying to go to sleep, where I wish I had the subtitles on so I could read what the fuck they're saying. But yeah, no, I had it with the audio dub. I got sick. I was sick last week. I had a flu that I thought I was convinced was fucking
yeah,
COVID.
you thought you had COVID.
I was convinced it was COVID because they just started getting a few cases in Brisbane.
We should have said that in our COVID discussion about how you thought you had it.
I was convinced.
And you were going to die.
I went sick. We had Vinny's birthday party. We had people over here. We have friends that live with their parents, and I was freaking out that I'd given them COVID. I was like, oh my God. We went for a COVID test. So I had in my head it was going to come back. Yep, you've got it. Came back and it was clear, thank God. But then the Tuesday that I'd run up for work and I said, I've got to go for a COVID test, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, you have to take the day off. I went for the COVID test. It was super easy. It was a drive-through one.
Was that your first one?
It was my second COVID test, but the first one through the drive-through. So
I've
the first
like
one.
5. I've had so many. Link's had like about 4.
Our first one was when we went to my mum's and then we left there.
To 10.
Oh, wow. Well, we went to an IKEA after seeing mum's. After going to mum, we went to an IKEA and then we came back home and then there was a fucking hotspot was the IKEA that we'd turned up at. So we had to go get the test and it was one where the line was around the corner. We stood in line for fucking 2 hours. Yeah. Got the test and it wasn't that bad because we didn't have any of the symptoms. So when they stuck the fucking prod up my nose and tickled it, it was like, oh, it's a little tickle. But when I went for it when we did the drive-through last Tuesday, I had my sinuses were up, my eyes were weeping. I had like fucking, you know, that flu feeling where it moves through your body.
Yeah.
So my sinuses were all fucking swollen. She stuck the thing up my nose. It started twisting. I'm in the front seat of my car. My head's back and I'm just going, ah! What she was doing it the whole time. It was
like a big baby.
Oh, you should have seen. They went over to Vinny. She stuck the swab down his throat. He reached on her while she was sticking it down his throat, which made me crack up. So he was moving his hand around when she stuck it up his nose, and you could see he was like in discomfort. I had to grab his hand and hold on to it for him. We got through it together though. But yeah, it was horrendous. Anyway, I came back from the COVID test. It took 15 minutes. We got lost going there twice. We had to go around in circles twice. Got there, came home, and then I just binged Squid Game from start to finish.
Oh, right. So
And
how many episodes is it?
Oh, I think it's 9.
Oh, that's not much. This is the whole thing now. Now every show is like a tiny
I
amount of
love
episodes.
that though. I love that though.
I
Like
do
the 9.
Tyler hates it. He likes to see
Oh.
when we try to find a new show, he wants something that has 10 seasons with 20 episodes a season. He likes a good commitment, whereas I'm like, oh, I don't mind a short, snappy show
Yeah,
that,
depends on the genre of the show, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's something like Sex and the City, I'm glad that I've got fucking 7 seasons or 10 seasons or whatever of half-hour shows.
Now you're
to
getting
get
into
through.
it. You're like, woo!
Yeah. But stuff like Nine Perfect Strangers, stuff like fucking Squid Game. There was something else we watched, Mayor of Easttown. Have you done that?
So I started it when I was drunk one night after we'd done the podcast, and I went and watched it. And then I watched the first bit, but I was like, I have to stop it because I'm too drunk for it.
Sky.
And I'm missing a little. I know we've actually had this discussion. I don't think we aired it on the podcast. I think we cut that piece. We had an argument about it because you were like, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. It was the vaping episode when we were really drunk.
Yes.
Because you were vaping the whole time, and we were talking about that. And
That's
I
what my
will do it.
Yeah, because of
but
my vaping.
Because I've been sick this week, I've gone back to one of my classics. Remember I was talking about my shows that I watch when I'm like, need a little bit of
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, no, Friday Night Lights is not on that. We're watching that at the moment, but I'm watching Gilmore Girls again because I've been on so much endone that it's the kind of show that and endone sort of makes you sleep, but not really. So you're in and out. So
you can have it on in the background. It's comforting.
Yes, it's comforting. I come to, I watch a little bit of it. I know everything that's going to happen. I know every word they're going to say. I fade out, I fade in.
It's that comfort. That's what I love.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about last week when you were talking about Sex and the City, how you can do that journey from start to finish.
That's
I was saying the
show.
same with Will and Grace or Roseanne.
Yeah.
And you always find that when it's that comfort, like you know what's happening, you know exactly what's going on, but you just feel at home, you feel at ease.
You know all the feel-good moments.
But then when it gets to the last episode or the last season, then you get to the last episode, I feel like there's a sense of loss. Like it's over now and you're just like...
Oh, totally. That's what I was talking about last week about my emotional attachment to characters and TV shows. Like I'm so invested. I'm like, what? They're not real? They don't like each other in real life? What do you mean?
I want Buffy back. So have you seen
all the shit that's coming out about Buffy about how Josh Whedon was like really hard to deal with on the set, how rude he was, how he like totally bullied Charisma Carpenter, how James Masters
Chastity, is that her name?
Out. Cordelia.
Was that her name, Chastity though, or Chast?
No,
is that her real name?
Charisma Carpenter is her real name. Cordelia is her name in the show.
And Cordelia was the snob, yeah?
Yes, with the long dark hair
he went to Angel.
Yes, and dated Xander originally, but then she went to and then she got pregnant with the demon child and she had him.
I haven't seen all the Angel ones.
Yeah. So
but she was saying shit about him too. Yeah, he was terrible.
But then Spike came out and said the same thing, and also what's her name? The redhead one that I also really loved that was in How I Met Your
Willow.
Mother. Yeah, she came out liking the post, as did Sarah Michelle Gellar. Xander, have you seen all the shit that's going on with Xander?
What's going on with Xander?
So he has. Have you ever watched Criminal Minds?
Yes.
So he is a reoccurring character in Criminal Minds. As
the
well.
OG one, or like
a computer hacker. A computer hacker that's a boyfriend of one of the main characters. But he has had a major drug problem, like in and out of drug institutes, domestic violence, but drug related, I think. And in and out of jail for having cocaine on him, all sorts of crazy stuff. But it consistently, and at the moment, he's like, they were all talking about the Josh Whedon stuff, and someone asked him to comment on something, and he was like, look, I'm in hospital at the moment. I can't feel my balls and my dick feels like it's on fire or something like that.
Wow.
Like he's got some sort of injury. I don't know if it's an injury, but it's an infection or something else that's happening.
Gonorrhea.
That's affecting his whole nether regions where he's in agony all the time in his penis and his balls. And he was like quoted as saying, I can't really comment on this right now because my headspace is not cool because of my medical problems with my balls and my dick. And then he's came out and said, look, he's really sick at the moment. His dick and his balls are really messed up. He can't comment.
Oh my God.
I think it's a little bit more eloquent than that, but it was
His dick
basically,
and his balls are in pain. He can't say anything right now.
but it was basically that.
Anyway, Squid Game.
Oh yes, that's where we
So-
were going with this. We're really drunk.
So Squid Game, just to give sort of some of the hype, it's now become a global phenomenon, and it's actually now become Netflix's.
Every time you do stuff like that and you say weird words, I have to copy you for ages, and then I can't get it out of my head. Phenomenon.
My house. Yeah.
My house, your house.
Where's the White House? Well, I think
How many houses?
Fucking boomer owning all the houses.
That will never stop making me laugh. I think about it all the time. My house.
Who's that? Uh-huh. But Squid Game has now become Netflix's most popular show.
Oh, I knew that. This is why I messaged you and I said to you, this is
In
the
the shortest
most
time.
viewed show ever, and it's dubbed.
Well, it's not
English.
dubbed. It's like it's in Korean, but you can watch the English dub version, or you
English
can
dub
read the fucking
Yes.
subtitles. But it surpassed Bridgerton as the streamer's biggest series launch ever. But can I put into
that too.
perspective what Netflix put down as a view is
Yeah.
someone who's watched it for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. We're at a time in our lives where quality TV viewing is hard to come by. Like, you really do need your friends to come up to you and grab you by the shoulders and be like, this fucking show is amazing. If you don't watch it,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. Because otherwise, anyone else that tells you something else, you're like, but you like something different from me. I like something different from you. You might like it, but I don't think I'm going to like it. So you still can't buy into anything. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even when someone recommends it, yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand completely. I didn't even mean to say yes then.
Yes, you did.
I didn't. It's my Cabernet blend.
Yes.
I meant to say yes.
Yes. My house, your house.
Yes.
We
knew this month in review was going to be good.
Oh, my belly's hurting from laughing so much. But I do feel like you cock up your words way more than me. I've done it.
I
once.
do.
You've done it a bunch of times.
I
People
referred
who
to Port
don't
Arthur
care
as
enough.
Port Douglas at one stage. Although, to be fair,
I did the Sex and the City fuck up where I said she got
Yeah, you
60K
said-
for the movies. That's a lie. That's not true. Penis.
Peter. Yeah. There's so much of this getting cut. I'm
You were
pissed.
gonna have the worst time trying to edit this. You're just gonna be like, delete.
And there's no pause in between shit too. I'm gonna be like, oh god.
And most of it is just us laughing. All over the place. Anyway. Oh, you haven't even really talked about. You talked about the dubbing of Squid Games, but you haven't
Yes.
talked about anything else. Go.
So, as we know, Squid Game has taken the world by storm, especially Netflix's world. It's officially surpassed Bridgerton as the streamer's biggest series launch ever. Did you
Yes.
actually watch Bridgerton?
No, but my sister also. I'm pretty sure my sister did, and she said it was amazing. Apparently, it's very sexual.
It is very sexual.
Did you watch it?
I watched the first episode. Only the first episode. And literally 10 seconds into the first episode, Finney just turned around and said, yeah, this is not the show for me. And then turned and rolled over and just started reading his iPhone. I was like, give it a go. You got to give it more than 10 seconds. But it's kind of like, do you know Gossip Girl? I've
Yes.
never seen Gossip Girl either. But it's like talking over there's someone talking over the top like a Gossip Girl type of thing.
And
Oh,
I
so
don't
you
like
taste.
teeny bopper stuff. Like, I've gotten to an age now, if it's not complex enough for real relationships that are relatable, If it's teenage shit or young 20-year-olds bullshit, I'm not interested. If it's he said, she said, oh, I like this
That's
person.
pretty much what it is
Tell
about.
them. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I didn't get into it.
It really makes me mad when someone they recommend a show as one of their top shows. Like, do you know what I couldn't get into? Is that fucking Billions. Have you seen that?
Nah.
No, and
I wouldn't be interested.
Best shows ever, and it's not great. And there's heaps of shows like that. You'll start a show and you'll be like, ugh. So, because we started Yellowstone, and we tried it a little while ago, and we couldn't get into it. And then I think we were drunk and arguing maybe when we tried, and that's why we couldn't get into it. Because when we tried it again recently, we were like, this isn't too bad. And then when we got into it,
you loved it.
Fucking insane, and everyone was talking about how insane it was. So when everyone's talking about how insane a show is, most of the time you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, you can pretty much bank on someone's fucking review. Yeah, if everyone's talking about it. Yeah. So, do you want me to do spoiler alerts and go through what Squid Game's about?
Oh, look, I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. Link's watched it.
Basically, it's like a modern day Hunger Games. So they get in touch with.
Well, that was aggressive.
Did you hear that? Yeah, that was a sneeze. I don't know if it came from my house or your house.
Your house. It was your house.
I think it was my house. So they get people who are down on their luck, basically, and the focus is on the main character, who is this guy who's addicted to gambling. And he's gambling all the time. He's lost his fucking relationship out of it. He's got a daughter. The daughter lives with the mother. He lives with his mother. The mother's continually working all the time to fucking put food on the table. And she's like fucking 80-odd. Mother can't stop working because she can't rely on him to fucking support them and all this shit. So he owes money. He owes a shit ton of money to fucking the Korean mafia or whatever. It's in South Korea. And so he gets approached by this dude. He's like,
is that the good part or the bad part of Korea at the moment?
The good part. So North Korea's Kim Jong-un, South Korea's K-pop.
Yeah.
So he gets approached by this dude, offers him a gambling thing. You know, you get 100,000 won, which is their currency if you can flip this thing. Otherwise, if you can't, I slap you across the face. And they keep doing that until he finally flips it over. And then he gives him a card and he's like, if you want to win more money, here's a number to call, basically.
I see.
He calls the number and then he gets picked up from a spot, gets gassed, and he wakes up and he's in basically like a prison sort of thing. It's not like cells, but it's like a big sort of dorm full of 100 beds. And there's 400 other people there.
Yeah.
Then they get told, we're going to play a game. It's up to you if you want to continue on with this. These are the terms and conditions. Once you start playing the game, you're not allowed to stop, and all these other things. They all want to do it. They get told that there's this chance to win fucking billions of won if they can win the game. And so they go into it. And the first game is, and you may have seen in the promos, this giant girl doll. It's
the like an cartoony one? The cartoony one with the weird face?
Orange dress and the orange, weird face.
The face that's on all the stuff, yeah.
Yes. And so they go into the realm and they're stood there and they're like, this is the rules. And there's people in their pink suits with the squares and the triangles and the circles on their faces. And it's like, the rules are, we're going to play red light, green light, which is basically the Australian version of statues.
Mm-hmm.
Statues, so you turn around and then you turn around and once...
Yes, we played it at my rumpus party, please.
Yeah, you got to freeze, and if you move, you're out.
My sister was the games master. Remember that?
She was the games master. So what they do is, for the doll goes green light, and when she goes green light, you can move, and then she'll stop and go red light, and then turn around. And if you're moving, the head will turn around and will scan, and so it scans, and then the first round it sees someone moving, and they'll literally just shoot him dead. And everyone's sort of frozen there thinking, what the fuck? And then it goes, green light. And then the guy his friend runs up to the guy and he goes, dude, you can move now. Like, she said green light, like, you dead? What's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then they realize he's dead. And then she goes, red light. And they turn back and the guy's like, she's dead, he's dead. And they just shoot the face out of him. And blood splats onto someone else. And that chick just starts screaming. So they just shoot her too because she's moving during red light. And then everyone just starts freaking out and running to the doors and trying to get out.
So shoot most of them.
A massacre. It's just like everyone's getting shot to death and all this shit. And then it stops after a while and it goes, green light. And they're like, what the fuck? And people aren't moving or anything. They're like, what the fuck? Red light, green light. And they only have a certain amount of time to get over the line. And so after the first game, a certain amount of people, when they realise what the fuck is going on, so they keep doing it, moving and stopping, people getting shot, people freaking the fuck out. They get over the line. And by the time that first game is done, over half the people are dead already.
What. Yeah, but they know what's what.
They know what's what, and over half the people are dead. And then they keep playing a series of children's games until they get down to...
I love children's games. So we played like egg and spoon race that year.
It's quite cool. They do a tug of war.
Like
they do a deadly version of tug of war. They do fucking this other bridge game, which is really cool, but not if you're actually playing it. But yeah, it's actually really good.
Not if you're going to die. Not if you lose to die.
Literally. And while the show is great, and I did watch the dub version, and there's all these reviews going out there about how the acting is amazing, and I'm like, it's okay. Some of them are great, some of them are shit, but I think the dub over voices makes the acting even worse for some of them. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
I enjoyed it. About the showrunner who created the show and directed the show, or the main guy responsible for the show, and they were all like, do a season 2, and he was like, fuck no, pretty much. He was like, there was never going to be a season 2.
Ooh.
I just think. And I've read some different things since then. Like, I know, but initially when it was first like in the charts and everyone was freaking out about it, he was like,
maybe when they
bought the season 2, it was only going to be like one season. Get fucked, and now every news article is like, season 2.
The way that it ends, it looks like they're going into a season 2.
Mm-hmm. See, people can't accept the closure of a show. It's like when a book is converted to a TV show, they can't accept it. They're like, oh, no, there has to be more. When there's no more books, it's like Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones was overtook the books, and which for people who've read the books and were like loyal to the books, we were all like, what the fuck? How can you do that to us? The readers who've been reading it for years before the show was made, and then you just recreate like the future of the show without.
And didn't they do a shit job of that?
Look,
recreating the future.
It was fabulous until the season finale, and the whole They
just ended it way too quick.
Yeah, and they were under the pump. They all wanted to go on to other things. It was all about their own ambitions. They
could have fucking brought in Daenerys' fucking madness at the beginning of the season and made that a slow takeover, not something that just happened. Yeah,
to kill her off in that way was fucked.
But also to make her just fucking destroy the whole town in that way was fucked.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched Squid Game, I recommend it. I recommend watching it with the fucking audio over the top because it adds a humor level to it as well. And you don't have to read subtitles then. Some people are saying just do it with the subtitles here. You probably get more of a true feel out of it, but I liked it with the dub over, and it made me laugh.
Mm. Mel said to me that she found it difficult with the dubbing, but she watched it.
So what do you have in entertainment reviews?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Scream 5. So I shared a trailer with you this week, and I know how much you love, and I was talking earlier about how traumatized I was. Well, sorry, I wasn't talking earlier. I was talking in last week's podcast, which we also filmed earlier today, about how traumatized I was by horror movies that my mother made me watch. Yeah. But I did enjoy the Scream movies, the early stuff, because they had so many of the pop stars that I loved and adored at the time. Neve Campbell, Skeet Ulrich. Yeah. What's the other one? The tall one.
Who played Shaggy?
Yes. I forget his name, but he was great too. Oh, Rose McGowan, she was in the first one.
She was in it.
So
Me
many great pop stars in it. It was like when they did the I Know What You Did Last Summer, the first season of that with Jessica What's Her Face, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie
Have you
Prinze
seen them
Jr.
making a TV series out of that?
I did see that. And see, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar are still married today. They met.
And they were also in fucking Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they might have met before that, but I have a feeling they met on the I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Like that was the show that brought them together. But Scream 5 is coming out. Obviously Neve Campbell's quite aged these days. She'd be a little bit older than us because...
Well, Scream came out in fucking the 90s.
Yes, so she was quite youthful then, but I reckon she'd be late 40s. She'd have to be late 40s. She'd be older than you. She might not be 50 yet, but she'd be like 48, 49.
Wow, you don't have to say that so dramatically.
I have to.
I'm only 3 years older than you know. We're in the same fucking decade. 3 years is a lot
when you're in your 40s.
No, darling.
Decade.
3 years is a lot when you're in your teens.
I was born in the 80s. You were born in the 70s.
77. 3 years ain't that much when you're in the 40s.
I'm not lying when I say I was born in the 80s. You were born in the 70s, and you're 3 years older than me.
I was born in 1980, and I was born in 77.
3 years is a lot when you're getting older. Anyways, I feel like Neve Campbell's maybe a couple of years older. I don't think she'd be quite in the 50s, but Courtney Cox is certainly.
And so is David Arquette.
And so David Arquette. And they're not married anymore, right? They're not together. They have a child together, obviously, who is also a teen. She's like probably getting close to the old 21. Actually, she might have just turned 18, give or take. So she's, not a baby.
Neve Campbell is 48.
40. I said that to you. I said she wasn't quite 50 yet, I reckon, but she'd be late 40s. So older than us. Yeah, we're younger than Neve Campbell. Woo woo!
Makes you feel good too. We're also younger than Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, but
significantly younger than Brad Pitt. He's way old. I don't look as hot as Angelina Jolie or Neve Campbell though.
We also don't have as much fucking work as they've had done.
How do you feel about being compared to Brad Pitt? Do you feel like you live up to that age gap?
I feel like I fit the mold. Yeah, I feel a bit fucking distraught.
No, Brad Pitt is looking fucking old. How old is Tom Cruise looking at the moment?
Tom Cruise is a loser.
Flabby cheeks on him as well. Ugh, I hate it. Stand.
Yeah. Scientology, this bitch.
Anyway, what were we even talking about? Oh, Scream 5. I had to think about that for a minute. Don't get me off topic when I'm drunk. It's really hard for me to get back on topic. Okay, so
that was my fault.
The original obviously had Drew Barrymore with the popcorn scene, and then she's trying to run away and she gets stabbed while the babysitter's the kid's parents that she's babysitting are pulling up in the driveway.
No, it was her house. It was her house.
Oh, it was too. It was too. It was her house.
She lived there.
Her house. Her house.
It was her boyfriend. My boyfriend's big and huge and he'll kick your ass.
Yeah.
Oh, is it him? And then he sat on the thing and it gets gutted.
So when my niece who's like super cool now, so she's like 13, right? She's like a teenager. She's super cool and she likes scary movies. So when she came to visit me in April and her mum was here, like, she came with her family. I said to her, look, I've got some scary movies that I can tolerate and I can't wait to show you because you're really into scary movies. So I put Scream 1 on for her and we got through the Drew Barrymore scene and we got to Scheme.
At her house.
Your house. So we got to the part where, and I don't know if you remember this because it's only because I saw it recently. I remember it all. Trust me. But when Neve Campbell's back in her house and the guy comes at her when she's in her house on her own.
Yeah, and she has the door with the cupboard.
Right at the beginning. Yeah, right at the very, very beginning.
I'm at your front door. Yeah.
And then someone saves her. I can't remember how she gets saved, but something happens and then
so
she goes
she shuts
away.
The door. She shuts her door that opens her cupboard door that locks her bedroom door coming in, and then I think her boyfriend pops in the window or something like that.
Which ended up being the killer. He ended up being the main killer.
Well, there was the two of them, yeah.
Two of them, yeah. So he would have been there. But anyway, we got to that point. So we made it through the Drew Barrymore getting stabbed scene, and then the next really traumatic scene was that Nev Campbell scene. And I remember my sister going, so it was me, Lola, my sister, and she turned to Lola at some point, and I thought she was getting a little bit weirded out by, but at one point, by that bit, we didn't even see the bit where her boyfriend showed up. Sarah turned to Lola and goes, do you want to keep watching this? Are you okay with this? And she went,
I'm out. I'm out.
Turn it off. She's 12 though. She's almost 13.
Pussy.
She's a little tiny bubba.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I love horror movies because she'd seen the ones with the dolls. What are the doll ones? I forget.
Annabelle.
I'm still scarred from Chucky, so I can't
Child's
see anything with a doll in. I'm not interested.
Annabelle would be the big doll one.
Yeah, she'd seen them, and so she was like, oh, yeah, I like horror movies, but she couldn't cope with it, and I was like...
That's a bit more fucking, yeah. It's got mask face.
Yeah, and...
Yeah.
Anyway, Scream has a massive history. I used to love it when I was younger, but it was also because I was a little bit, like, in with the cool crowd, and like, everyone liked Scream, but it terrified me, like, literally terrified me, and as I was watching it with my 12-year-old niece, I was sat there going... fuck, this is hectic. And I was thinking it was super hectic. When Sarah turned to Lola and was like, are you okay? And she's like, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you're not okay. Because I was thinking that you were like totally into it because you love scary movies, but you hate it. So I was like, yeah, let's totally turn it off. But I also knew what happened next. But the whole garage scene with Rose McGowan, remember she gets fucked up in the garage door?
That was so stupid, though.
But that was fucked up. And
do you remember Scary Movie where they repeat that scene?
Oh, see, I hate those movies where they recreate just shit like that.
Take my hand, child, my good hand. And where there's that chunky chick, and she goes to go, no, and she's crawling out the square in the garage door. Like,
I have seen them years ago, but I've never been a massive fan. But it's not my kind of comedy. But yeah, so she was quite traumatized. So that was the last time I saw a little bit of the first one. But I remember watching them all, and then we saw Scream 4, which was also a bit of a like reunion episode, like they had. I just remember I'm pretty certain that you and I were sat next to each other, and I remember us just going, and I was like going to it, so I can't watch it, and you were pissing yourself laughing at me. And
not as much as we were pissing ourselves laughing during Burlesque.
Oh, and then we took Poodle.
Jesus Christ, that was hilarious. And I felt so bad because the cinema was packed, and I felt so bad for the lady sitting next to me. I wanted to turn around and just give her her money back. I'm sorry. Come see it again.
That was a terrible movie.
Oh my God, it was horrendous. So stupid.
Poodle hated it more than anyone in the world.
So Scream. I can't wait to see the new version of it. I am probably going to watch because I've seen the first 3 a number of times. Do you know Jackie from Roseanne's in Scream 2?
Oh, look, that does sound a little bit familiar to me. I can't.
I'm probably going to watch Scream 4 after this, probably tonight. And do you know they did a TV series, Scream?
Yes, it had what's Emma Roberts in it, who's in American Horror Story. Yeah.
I kind of watched the first few episodes, then I lost interest. I need to watch it again. I think there's 2 seasons of it.
Yeah, Rachel from Glee was in it too, I'm pretty sure.
No, that's Scream Queens.
Oh, okay.
And Emma Roberts is
in Scream Queens. Is she?
And that's on I think that's on Disney. And Scream Queens is great.
Oh, is it?
It's a Ryan Murphy one, yeah. Scream Queens. It's got the chick from Halloween, the older bird, the original.
So who was in? The one who's also in New Girl.
No, the one that's also in fucking the new Halloweens that are coming out now.
But Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in Scream Queens. Scream Queens is great, but they did a TV series on Scream with the mask face killer.
But who was in it though? There was a few famous people in it, wasn't there?
I don't remember anyone famous standing out.
Oh, okay. I feel like there was, but anyway, I think we have to see it together when I'm back in Brisbane because the trailer's out, but it'll be a while before it comes to the films because we're back where we have to wait a long time for shit to come to the cinemas because a lot of the production companies aren't releasing stuff until they get the maximum dollar for it.
We can even just do a fucking household thing because a lot of the times now they're just releasing it where you pay fucking
$40 and you just all
on
chuck
Prime
in.
or Disney.
I know.
What else do we have on our current affairs?
So we have
ScoMo getting forgotten by Joe Biden as that fella from Down Under.
Yes.
Sucked in ScoMo.
Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, that's all I got to say about that. What else do we have?
We've got the earthquake that happened
in Melbourne, in Victoria. And tornadoes that ripped through.
It happened somewhere in Indonesia, and then it reverberated into Melbourne.
No, I don't know about that. That would have been a big fucking detour around the rest of Australia to go from Indonesia into.
Hang on, I'm going to Google it because it didn't happen here. We got the aftershocks of it.
Yeah, but Melbourne's down the bottom of Australia. Indonesia's at the top of Australia.
Okay, maybe you're right about that. And then, so a friend of ours.
Well, there was like one part of Melbourne in the city that the whole fucking street had fallen down, yeah.
And then there was like, so we live on the Central Coast, which is like, oh, look, Sydney's there and we're just a little bit, to the coastline.
You're above Sydney,
close, yeah, but very slightly and to the coast. So we're more like, never eat soggy Weet-Bix. So we're east.
Because Western Australia is on the west, yeah.
I had to do my never eat soggy Weet-Bix, okay?
Stupid bitch.
So we're east of Sydney, but we're pretty much on Sydney's backyard, right?
Yeah.
So and then Melbourne's obviously south of us. North, south, east.
Stupid bitch.
Anyway, so the earthquake, whilst it was a bit crazy, but I love the fact that it was on the news and they were all like, what's happening? And a friend of ours who lives like a couple of suburbs over, he messaged Tyler before we saw anything on the news, and he was like, did you guys feel a crazy tremor? Do you think that was an earthquake? And Tyler said to me, do you think we just had an earthquake? And I was like,
that was my bowels.
We live in a 2-story house though, so the ripple effect of that was probably minimized by the fact we're in a 2-story house is a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? So we're mostly upstairs, and I was like, oh, I didn't feel shit. I don't know what you're talking about. And then it came out like 10 minutes later that there was an actual earthquake and his mate had felt it. And we were like, what? And then we saw the news article. It
was.
We didn't feel it, but I've yet to feel an earthquake in my whole entire life, and I want to.
Me too. I've never felt an earthquake.
So anyway, that's my other really main thing. I feel like that's a lot.
I think it was a lot. It was a current affair.
Yeah.
I think that we've covered what we need to in this episode anyway. Yeah. Actually, before we quit, I would like to point out.
Thank God.
Your T-shirt.
What?
You've worn something that was relevant to tonight's episode.
That wasn't intentional, actually. Yeah, it's got a world.
This guy has the globe on her shirt tonight. Is Australia on it or is it Africa? It's Africa. You don't even have one with Australia on it, you stupid bitch.
I brought it from
But she's got a world, and it looks like it's like on a black shirt. And
I've had it for yonks. I've had it for about 5 years.
It is very relevant to the current affairs. I thought you wore that for a reason. I picked up.
No, I didn't.
Through the episode.
This is my comfy shirt. This is my comfy.
I love a good comfy shirt. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Stupid Bitches Say What. We hope you enjoyed our ramblings in this week's episode.
Don't forget, if you like what you hear, tell your mates and follow our socials and YouTube channel, especially our YouTube channel. Stupid B say what? Also, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at stupidbsaywhat@gmail.com for feedback, topic suggestions, or just general chit chat. You stupid bitches.
Thanks, you stupid bitches. We look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye. Oh God, I can't wait to listen to this.
It's gonna be fucked. I'm gonna be fucked trying to edit it, man.
Cut. Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.